The V8 powered, naturally aspirated Ferrari 328 arrived in 1985 and replaced the best-selling 308. It was better in almost every way, was more muscular, quicker and more usable day to day. And this gentleman very much wants to own one.
This is my dream Ferrari. If I was buying a Ferrari, it would be this one.
So this week we are going to deep dive the 328 and find out what its special features are.
What is it like to own?
How fast is it? How desirable is it?
And how can you tell a 308 from a 328?
And also, should Jason own one?
Yes.
Now, of course, this is not the Magnum one. In fact, if he had a 328, Thomas Magnum would have almost certainly caught a lot more criminals. This is Drive Every Ferrari, and this is the Ferrari 328. Launched at the 1985 Frankfurt Salon alongside the Mondial 3.2, this Ferrari 328 was the successor to the best-selling 308 and is in many ways a facelift with improved mechanicals and everyday driving ability, not to mention build quality.
Made for just 4 years and replaced in 1989 by the 348, 1,344 GTBs were made. Total production run
7,500.
GTS alone was 6,000 cars.
Hang on a minute, but that means that a hardtop GTB 328 is as rare as an F40.
Yes, it is, if you believe the numbers for F40s that Ferrari tell you.
And lest we forget, the 328 was also Barbie's official mode of transport, as seen here. Okay, so Jason, let's have a walk around this magnificent Concours level car. It has been loaned to us today by friend of the Car Guys, Paul. Hashtag legend.
Oh, absolute legend. Thank you, Paul, for your wonderful car. This thing is absolutely stunning. This is obviously the update to the 308. So what are the main things that we can spot in this car that the 308 didn't have?
A very good question. So the main differences are to do with the front of this car. Obviously, build quality aside, lots of changes, lots of improvements made. But around the front of a 328, the big differences are no louvres behind the pop-up headlights.
Yep.
Still pop-up headlights, obviously the coolest thing in the world.
Clearly.
The front of the car is a lot more rounded and you've got body-coloured bumpers as well.
The other thing that I quite like, and the reason why I prefer this over the 308 from a frontal point of view, is this little bumper here that you don't have on a 308. It's not there. The grille comes up further.
Really?
I really like that little detail. It's very nice.
Yeah, nice little thing. I didn't know that. Another important thing to highlight really about this time in Ferrari's history is that for some reason Ferrari decided to make all the fronts of its cars look exactly the same. So if you have a look right here, you can see we have the similarity between the 328, the 3.2 Mondial and the 412. They are all the same front to give it that sort of family feel. Bit of a mistake, I think. Another difference between the 308 and the 328 is they finally fixed the door handles. If you remember, on the 308 you've got a sort of claw, that witch's claw that would come over here, and that's what you'd have to lift up. Very fragile feeling, feels like it would snap straight off, and this has been replaced now with a body coloured little sort of lever here, which you insert a finger, lift up, and away you go.
I think that this is perhaps peak Ferrari door handle.
Really?
Yeah, because after this point, they became very, very badly styled and absolutely rubbish. I mean, the ones on the Pista, frankly, what even are they?
In terms of options that you can have for your 328, one of them is this little rear spoiler thing here.
I love that.
It's an essential option.
I really love it. Yeah.
Gotta have that. Also, air conditioning was an option and a leather dashboard and headlining. But to be honest, that's pretty much it.
But from 1988, you could get ABS as an option. However, that did require some redesigning of the suspension. You can tell those cars that the wheels are exactly the same as the 3.2 Mondial.
Oh, I mean, it's quite an interesting fact.
So other great features of this car, disc brakes, very useful.
Needed.
Independent wishbone suspension, coilovers, hydraulic shock absorbers. all round.
The classic layout, the classic suspension.
Absolute joy.
When you see this car and you see this shape, what do you think about?
You do think, I know it's not Magnum's Ferrari, but you do instantly think Magnum.
I think 80s.
You think 80s, I think childhood, I'm thinking Athena poster on the wall.
Countach, all this.
All of that stuff, absolutely. And honestly, that's why this is such an iconic car. And I love the 355 as well, but for me, in my childhood, this is peak Ferrari. Peak Ferrari.
It's like this and the 512 are like those absolutely epic Pininfarina shapes. Just look at it. It is such a pretty car. I mean, even more so now. I think when the 355 came out, it all got a bit blobby. Everyone wanted blobby back then, the 550, the 355. But now, a little bit of angles is what we're looking for.
Oh, it's just such a beautiful thing. It's so tiny, it's so compact. It's everything that you want a V8, small V8 Ferrari to be.
We've got the black louvres, obviously, on the engine compartment for cooling. They just look cool, with especially with Rosso Corsa, which of course a lot of these cars are in.
Could you have it in a different colour?
You can, and those cars do look particularly cool right now. I think if you see some of those beautiful not Tour de France blues, those more aqua blues, oh my goodness, looks amazing. But it's all the little details. Obviously we've got scoops coming through, the beginnings of sort of cooling aerodynamics inspired by Formula One. So you had a lot of Formula One development from Ferrari all through the 80s. So lovely big cooling ducts here for the engine. You've got these little vents here again in the rear quarter lights. I quite like these quite obviously stuck on plastic black wing mirrors. Very
with the
nice.
little Ferrari badges, so no painted shields at this point.
No, it looks like a little sticker that you bought like at a sort of, you know,
Halfords.
A GIP service station and just stuck on it. The front of it immediately recognisable. We've obviously got room for a spare wheel, and you've got all the fans and everything in the front, and then...
Which is shocking in today's modern standards. You know, most modern cars don't have spare wheels. If you're lucky, you get a space saver. If you're unlucky, you get one of those tyre foam machines that literally are never going to work.
No one knows how to use those. And
those.
what you do is you basically take the foam out, you look at it, and then you call the AA or the RAC with this hand.
Because the expiry date on the foam was at least 4 years ago, and you forgot to replace it. We've got these beautiful 5-spoke alloys as well.
Yep.
I mean, they are amazing. So if we go to the back of the car, this is obviously classic 308 style, right? So this is pretty much carried over from the previous car. We have got those iconic round Ferrari lights. I mean, you cannot beat those things. And obviously those gorgeous 4 round tailpipes sticking out the back. Oh, and what's this? I believe the bonnet is open.
This is the 3.2 litre 3185cc, to be precise, V8 naturally aspirated transverse engine, code number F105.
And while Damien takes a breath after all of that information, it's essentially the same as the one in the 308, with minor tweaks and an enlarged displacement from 2.9 litres.
You also get Bosch K-Jetronic fuel injection, but with the new Marelli electronic ignition.
That gives us a 0 to 60 time of 6.4 seconds, 270 brake horsepower, which is 274 PS, and a top speed of 163 miles an hour.
And because we're talking about an 80s car, it only weighs 1,263 kilograms. And peak torque is 224 pounds-feet, which is 304 Newton meters. But the main thing to say about this engine is you could eat your dinner off it.
This is so... I can't believe they've even zip-tied the cables for the spark plugs so that they go in the right direction.
It's a work of art, isn't it?
This engine is absolutely immaculate. Right, so you may think to yourselves, oh, well, I've got a Ferrari, but how do I take my luggage? So actually the boot space is this very strange zipped up little area here, which is not bad, you know. I reckon you could get a set of golf clubs in there.
You could get a set of golf clubs in there.
I mean, nothing else.
And only that.
Yeah.
So whatever luggage you've got, it's got to be long and thin.
Long and thin.
Also, it needs to be heat resistant because it is buffed right up against the engine.
Yeah, there is nothing stopping your bar of chocolate from melting away into the carpet.
All right, here we go then.
Okay,
What are you doing? What's that?
what are you talking about?
Is that a Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah.
But hang on a minute, this isn't the Magnum Ferrari. This doesn't work.
I realise that, but it's the only red one we've driven. I bought it about 4 years ago.
Take it off.
God's sake. Okay. So this is the GTB version. There is a reason, I think, why there were so many GTSs sold, and that is that if you're any taller than 4 foot nothing, you can't physically get out of here without banging your head on the thing. I mean, how Thomas Magnum would ever have got in this car with a baseball cap on is absolutely beyond me.
Oh, I fit just beautiful in here. Well, here we are then. We are inside the 328. We're now in suitable attire. And, wow.
Nominal.
I mean, look at it. It's noticeably upgraded from the 308.
It could not be a more different experience being in here than the 308 that we were in before.
This centre bit here, if you remember, the 308 had those big sliders for everything, and there was a lot of Bakelite and
there's an awful lot of
chrome.
faded aluminium and bits.
But now here we've got, I mean, look, actual switches. I mean, admittedly, the thinnest switches in the world. I'm not sure what finger that's for. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Little tiny switches. Then you've got proper big switches. You can get these even in the 355, these switches. Yeah, so they're still using this parts bin then. This here, this is straight from the F40, the aircon controls here. You still got the nuclear missile launch button for the hazard warning lights, which I always appreciate.
There are literally 2 of the tiniest little vents you've ever seen in your life.
Hang on a minute, are we in the Barbie car? Because
look at that.
That's crazy. Look at the size of them.
Yeah, you're not getting anything out of there, are you?
So that for the avoidance of doubt, viewers, they are about the size as a packet of Rizzlers.
Yes, they are, and probably as effective.
It's very well upholstered. This one's been reupholstered by a master craftsman. It is absolutely perfect. Up there, you'll notice as well, because this is a gentleman's conveyance, a hook for your jacket.
You're not hanging anything on there.
Perfect. We've got a storage bin in the back here. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh,
and guess what's here?
Yes, tapes. We've got tapes, ladies and gentlemen. Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, but sadly, Paul, where are the tapes?
No tapes, Paul.
Come on.
Where's the tapes, Paul?
Right, if you haven't got Genesis or Dire Straits in there by, I don't know, by the time this video goes out, we'll be very disappointed. We've got these spread out legs. Pedals are quite well spaced, actually. They're not too bad. Steering wheel, classic Momo. Horn in the centre, great size. And it's at that sort of angle. Not quite as tilted as the F40, but very similar to the 308. And the dials themselves actually would be very similar to the 308, except that the needle is white, not orange.
Yeah, and the dials are orange, which I'm quite liking that contrast. I like that. And that's carried over through our fuel gauge, our temperature gauge, and our lovely little clock.
Yes, very prominent clock, yes. This car has a Blaupunkt stereo in it. I'm not sure if we're going to need that. I can't even work it. Look how tiny the buttons are on that as well.
To be fair, at our age, I can't even read that.
No, but we're talking very 80s Ferrari. Black leather upper, tan side door cards and tan seats. Seats are quite comfortable, and as Jason is modelling, they can be reclined to quite a ludicrous degree.
They are slim. Around the hip area.
They are.
We're not overly sized, gentlemen, but they are quite
snug.
Over
to my right here on this right-hand drive car, I've got a drop handle handbrake, always useful. Here we got a big old handle to close the door, and more electric switches here. So we've got electric adjustment for the mirrors, and we've got electric windows. Obviously in the centre here, we've got that 5-speed manual stick, and listen to the click. Oh, that's lovely.
That is lovely.
And of
dog
course,
leg.
It is. It's another dog leg. Oh, another classic 80s throwback, and almost as much as next to it, which is the de rigueur ashtray.
For your little cigarillos.
For your smoking pleasure.
Very nice, very nice. There's not a lot of room, for leg room.
No, I mean,
you do
tight,
definitely have to sit splayed in order to get the best out of this car.
And I think in any front-engined collision, you're basically going to lose your knees straight away.
Yeah, the wheels are basically where my toes are.
Looking behind, we've got a glass curved screen looking out over the bonnet louvres. A little bit of storage space behind the seats where you could just chuck a few things. And that's pretty much it. And this rather unnecessary massive tray here sitting above the engine compartment.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that's for. They could have put some strapping on that or something.
And also, what I love about these sort of earlier Ferraris is you have to play the guess how you open the door game, because some of them the door thing is in the bin here, some of them it's up here, some of them it would be here, some of them it could be here or here. But in this one, I mean, this is the first time I've actually sat in it. To me, it feels, so it's on the leading edge of this sort of leather,
which is not obvious.
It's not, but I quite like the fact that A, I worked that out, but B, that it is hidden.
Yeah.
So some people might not work it out and be stuck in here for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you want to open the boot, there's a beautiful polished lever here behind me, and it looks like, yep, there we go. To open the front, you've got a little lever here, down here.
There. You've got a little footrest there next to your left foot.
I do have a footrest, and I also have a mirror.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's supposed to be mirrored. I think it's a kick plate to stop you.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's so polished that it basically looks like it's there to admire your Italian shoes.
Wow, maybe that is a thing. Made by the Pope's cobbler.
But now, I mean, I think we spent enough time rabbiting on about the interior.
Yeah, let's get on and drive it.
Let's drive it, good idea. Yeah. What an excellent idea. Right, so key into the ready position.
Go.
Clutch down.
Clutch down. Well, you don't have to because it's an old car, right?
Oh.
But fuel injections, you don't have to pump the throttle and pull the choke out and do all that nonsense. You turn the key and the thing just starts.
Exactly what I was going to say is that Morelli sort of electronic ignition means it's just more everyday usable, isn't it? Now, did you put the handbrake on?
No.
No. Okay, so dog leg first, down and to the left. What's the clutch like? You have got the handbrake on. You have.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Or it must be automatic. Oh, imagine the huge wheel spins we could do out of here.
I know.
There we go.
I think they would be quite upset with us, but my God, would it be fun.
Yes, exactly. I did think the pedals were not too close together, but now I'm actually driving, they do sort of feel a little bit close together.
Yeah, there's a lot of, when you go to put your foot on the brake, there's a lot of accelerator as well.
Stalks, I noticed, same very, very cheap Fiat parts bin items.
Get it round there we go.
Right.
We're off.
Now obviously it's an older Ferrari, so we've got to make sure that we warm it up properly.
We've got some sort of airflow.
Success. The car guys have managed to operate the vents on a 328.
I mean, I'm pushing the with the barest sharpened end of my nail because the buttons are so small.
Well, actually, this is quite reminiscent of the 512 seating position. Very similar outlook.
Yep.
Nice short bonnet. This reclined position. Steering wheel's at exactly the same angle. This feels very 512, but obviously without that enormous muscular V12 engine in the back.
Sadly.
Yeah. For some reason, my body suits these old Ferraris, and I'm quite comfortable. Although I do have to lift my foot quite high to reach the brake, which is causing it to sort of impact on the bottom of the steering wheel.
I think you need to splay your knees out a bit further. I'm not sure you've splayed your knees enough.
I know what you mean.
It feels quite well damped as well. It's definitely a good one, this one. It's not very crashy and bangy.
No,
it's
you can tell it's well loved, can't you? Yeah. Gearbox is starting to warm up a little bit now. The car feels nice and small, which is quite a good thing on such a tight road.
Yes.
Visibility is good. I feel pretty comfortable. It's nice and small shape. Feels quite perky.
Pulls quite well, doesn't it? This does feel very modern in its power delivery. It's not coughing and spluttering and causing any real issues, is it?
No, it feels dramatically different to drive than the 308. It feels a lot more modern and a lot more tractable. You know, it's not like exactly as you said. It's not stuttering. It's not spluttering. It's just pulling cleanly. It feels more modern straight away. This is why people go for the 328 a lot. So
none of you are, it's a carburettor model made out of fiberglass nonsense here. I'd rather have something I can get in and drive, right?
Visibility out the back is good. To the side is fairly decent. Actually, no, it's alive. Visibility through the wing mirrors is pretty poor.
Dire.
Yeah, it's not great. But I am appreciating the Rosso Corsa bodywork. And of course, I'm appreciating those super cool 70s era 80s dials. Loving that, loving it. It's all about the Cannonball Run.
All about
driving
the Cannonball
this,
Run.
loving this. There is nothing like a manual gearbox on a Ferrari, especially blooming heck. I mean, that is an Amazon idiot right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we called an Amazon idiot. Oh, it's got a good noise to it. God, blimey,
That does sound proper, doesn't it?
that's good. That is nice.
You can imagine tear-arsing your way around pretty much everywhere. Oh yeah.
Oh, because it's a manual, you can do that.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
Oh.
I love the way that sounds. Brakes good?
Brakes are reasonable, I would say. They're not stupendous, but
For a car of its age.
with a good enough heft, yeah, you can just about do it. Oh. Yeah, I mean, the steering it's not too bad actually. It's not as heavy as I was expecting.
I apologise for bringing you down this road because it appears that it's unmade
It's
for the most part. We're in a little village.
Oh, you're going to slow down? Yeah, of course you are.
Yes.
Of course you are, Malcolm. But when I actually raised my hands to acknowledge that driver, I touched the windscreen. That's how steeply raked the windscreen is.
And how close it is to you as well.
Yeah, everything is very close to me in this car.
Exactly the same thing happened to me in the E-Type. Literally a couple of days ago, I went to say thank you and then bashed my knuckles on the windscreen.
If a 328 is this small inside,
Yep.
what's a Dino going to be like?
Oh, it's going to be more ridiculous.
Gearbox is now warmed up nicely. Oh yes.
Click, click, click.
Yeah. Let's see what the cornering's like. Oh, it does push. It pushes wide actually.
Does it?
Yeah, it's not as agile as you think it would be.
That's a bit of a shame. I wonder if that's just part of that is the tyres as well, I would guess, because they're quite deep profile, aren't they?
Could be that.
Classic 80s.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't tucking into that corner with the sort of
A plum.
a plum I was expecting. That's a disappointing horn. Should we try that?
Yeah,
that
go on,
horn
try again.
It's
Yeah.
harpy, but it's not very loud.
But that instantly makes me think of Cannonball Run.
Pull over! We want to give you our blessings!
Oh, this is better. Look at that. Look at the way it flows now. Oh, I have to say though, if I do stomp on the brakes, yeah.
So what you're saying is it's best to plan your stopping.
Yeah. If you're going to have to do a big sudden stop, try and plan well in advance for it.
Nice.
I'm loving the steering angle and actually I am loving the driving position.
Oh, good.
But it is quite claustrophobic.
Yeah, it's very tiny and small in here, isn't it? Oh yeah, second.
Are
Here
you
we
ready?
go. Yeah, go for
Here
it.
comes the beans.
Here comes the beans. I mean, it's got a fair bit of shove, hasn't it?
It's sufficient, I think. You know, it's one of those things. It's not going to rip your head off. Obviously, by modern standards, it's laughable. But you get good progress. You can overtake with it. Gives you a nice turn of speed as you come out of a corner.
It's usable power.
Exactly. And also, you can rev the nuts off it and not lose your license, which these days is quite appreciated.
I mean, at 1,200 kilos and how many? 280 horsepower?
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
You know, that's pretty good. That's GI Yaris type of performance.
And then there's a stamp on the brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. See matron.
Yeah.
See matron after school.
Yeah.
Let's see what the lights are like.
Oh!
Pop up lights.
Oh, just an absolute joy.
Nothing finer. They seem particularly upright as well.
Yes,
Look at this.
they are proud.
What a
They are
joy!
proud pop-up lights.
What a joy to drive a car with pop-up headlights. Look at it. We couldn't be having more fun right now. Oh, so good.
And they go back down again at the same speed, which, you know, is good for an 80s car.
Yeah, we said this was a good one.
Yeah.
From my point of view, a definite, tangible jump forward from the 308, even though it's kind of just an upgraded car. It's just a facelift, but it feels more modern. I think the engine mods that they've done with the ignition have made a world of difference to this car.
What they've done is they, like you say, they've modernised it, right? So the body is now screwed together better.
Yeah.
The suspension works better. They've had a good few years of the 308 to kind of fine tune it. It's another one of those kind of end of the run models where the next iteration is always slightly better.
It doesn't like hairpins, I'll say that. It doesn't like fast hairpins, but it loves sweeping
The
roads. And on that bombshell, I think it's time for you to drive this car.
Woohoo! Right, are we ready?
Yes, we are. Time for Jason to have a little tinkle of the ivories in this absolutely pristine 328, kindly lent to us by friend of the car guys, Paul.
Okay, so first thing, oh, the brakes aren't that bad. The pedal, the tread
In panic mode.
yeah, the travel of the pedal's quite long, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sort of really quite fancying putting on some priest's outfits and doing some kind of illegal road race right now. Just can't help myself.
It's nice to drive. I'm concentrating a lot.
And also it's the UK, so the roads are festooned with potholes.
Yeah. I am finding this driving position quite disconcerting, but beanage.
Set. Yes. It's good, isn't it? It's got a good turn of speed.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's enough. And it's enough low down to give you a good shove. You don't have to go hunting around the top of the rev range, which I quite like. And the steering's alive in your hands as well. None of that, you know, the connection between you and the road is very Porsche-like in that respect. The steering wheel's jumping and bucking around.
I'm actually not really that looking forward to getting into the piste after this, because I think you'll feel even number than it is already. Well, the main question that has to be answered though is that this is the one that you are thinking of buying. When we did our video at Beauty, you said, well, you're thinking about maybe getting a Ferrari. This was the model. So by the time that you finish this drive, you have to give us your definitive view on that.
I can give it to you now, actually. I love the way it drives, much more than the 308. I would definitely have this over 308.
Yep.
I think I would have to have a GTS though.
Yes.
Because
headroom is a problem for you, isn't it?
Yeah. These wings are actually a lot wider than they look on the outside of the car when you're sitting in here.
I'll tell you what, looking through the wing mirror, I've just got this absolutely glorious view straight into the intake that goes there, and also of that flared wing, and it just looks fantastic from here. But compared to the 308, it's a definite improvement and step up, and definitely we would have this over a 308. In terms of the 348, that feels more spacious and a little bit more power, feels a bit more meaty, a bit faster, but it's not as big a jump as you'd think. So actually between this and the 348, I think I'd almost be tempted to go for this. And then of course once you get to then you get to the 430. 430 is a lot more technologically capable, but not the most exciting car in the world, and obviously in terms of looks it's nothing like as good as this.
No, but there's little that is as good as this, let's be honest. This is kind of, that's why I said earlier that this is kind of peak Ferrari, and you know the 355 obviously is a gorgeous shape.
The 355 obviously, I think everyone will agree, is the sweet spot, because you've got old school, manual, very Ferrari heritage, beautiful, screaming, incredible engine. So 355 I think is probably that real perfect Ferrari until you then get to the 458, and then it's just a different game entirely. We'll do one last circuit, final thoughts from us, and then we'll pull up and bring Paul's treasured 328 back to him in the condition that we picked it up.
Maybe we shouldn't do another circuit then.
What I think you should do is put the pop-up headlights up because it will give your Winky a fizz.
Let's go. Oh.
See, it's a man thing, I'm sorry, but it is. Pop-up headlights, just when they go up, we just can't help it.
I don't know why why did they stop doing pop-up headlights?
It's to do with the crash protection, Euro,
blah, 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 blah.
Right, so what do we like about the 328? We like the pull of the engine and the sound of the engine.
And the styling.
We love the styling, we love the pop-up headlights.
A bit more muscular than the 308.
Yeah, the everyday usability, it's a lot, you know, that new fuel injection, that ignition really does make it usable.
Yeah.
The dials, the build quality, fitments, and the manual gearbox. So overall, it's a really beautiful old school Ferrari. What do we not like about this car?
The driving position is, shall we say, slightly compromised.
Classic Italian is what it is. I'm not too fussed with these tiny little air conditioning type switches. I think they are insane, and I think the general fact that we've got 5 or 6 different types of switches in here is a bit part spin and a bit worrisome. It's quirky, it's eccentric, it's not especially practical, and they don't feel particularly robust.
No, I think I had exactly the same switches in my Fiat Strada.
The turn-in on high-speed tight corners is a little bit alarming, and I would say the brake pedal, braking distance, stoppiness is not exactly there.
No, I would say less than ideal.
Yes. Here you go, here's a tight corner here. You're at a slow speed, so this will actually feel quite nice as you sweep out. So there we are, final thoughts on the Ferrari 328, Jason.
I would have to say that if I could get myself a GTS that was as sorted as this one, I think it would be a yes from me.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I do. I like the amount of power. I like the sweepiness. Obviously, the styling is to die for. So, you know, in my old dotage, I could just look at it and not have to worry about driving it.
It would sit so well in your garage, I have to say.
It would, wouldn't it?
Imagine this next to the E-Type.
Oh my
goodness.
God. That's a thing dreams are made of.
Exactly. Thank you to Paul for lending us his pride and joy, this beautiful Concours Edition 328. And with that bombshell, it's back to the studio. Thank you for watching this episode of Drive Every Ferrari on the Ferrari 328.
We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed driving this absolutely stunning, perfect example. Don't forget to subscribe, ding the notification bell for when we have another film uploaded. Find us on Instagram and go and buy that merch.
There'll be another episode of The Car Guys next week.